I'm Kayla, maybe you know me, maybe you don't. In summary, at the end of October, I made a post vocalizing my concern over the vaccine mandates. Received a lot of backlash on that, a lot of support, but a lot of backlash. And since then I've been wanting to post a video explaining my stance. In December, I completed all of my university courses, and in June, I'll be graduating with my Bachelor of Science, a double major in biology and psychology. Today, I came across a Substack that's an excellent summary of a lot of the things people are concerned about. The Substack piece is by a woman named Jimmy Kim. She is formerly a biologist and now is working as a data scientist. The piece is called "I Was Deceived About COVID Vaccine Safety." Jimmy Kim goes over a bunch of different evidence, and they include testimonies from doctors and nurses, testimonies from the vaccine injured, evidence from medical records and official databases of adverse events, evidence from the vaccine trials themselves, plausible mechanisms of action, evidence from animal studies, evidence of past wrongdoing by pharmaceutical companies, and evidence of corruption and undue influence in our health institutions, and then also explanations for why we're not hearing about this in corporate media. Many experts around the globe who are like top in their fields are being censored for speaking out about their concerns about these vaccines and the mandates associated with them. I think if you ask yourself honestly, you probably have a feeling that something is kind of up. Maybe you've forgotten because we as humans have relatively short memories, unfortunately, but the amount of gaslighting surrounding this vaccine rollout has been insane. They originally said that the vaccines would stop transmission, that if you got vaccinated, not only would you not get COVID, but that you definitely wouldn't go to the hospital and you definitely wouldn't die from COVID. We know that that's not true. Originally, they were calling breakthrough cases rare, and in a lot of places right now, breakthrough cases are not only rare, they're actually the norm. So before you jump to demonize somebody who's speaking out their concerns against the mandates, before you call somebody an idiot or an anti-vax bigot, please ask yourself, what does that person have to gain from raising their concerns? Because I'll tell you what I've gained since making a post in October. Literally nothing. I have lost so many friends over this. Thankfully, I've also become closer with friends I've had, and I'm not saying I've lost all my friends, but a lot of people who have known me for years and I liked to think that they knew the kind of person I was have just totally demonized me. I've been called a piece of shit so many times in the last few months. Just because I'm speaking out about mandatory injections. If you call yourself a liberal, but you won't listen to anybody who has a different opinion than you, like maybe ask yourself, what's that about? Who's intolerant? Literally millions of people around the world are speaking up about this. Tens of thousands of doctors and scientists are concerned about the efficacy and safety of these vaccines, and they're being shut down and censored so much. When in history has censorship of doctors and scientists ever been a good thing? As uncomfortable a conclusion as it was to come to, myself, and again, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, like millions of other people have come to the conclusion that these mandates do not make sense. In a healthy democratic society, we need to be able to ask questions of our policymakers. We need to be able to have open debates about things that concern, I don't know, the whole global population, the health and well-being of every human on the planet. We need to be able to talk about those things as a society. And if we're having our massive social media conglomerates censor all conversation, that should raise a red flag for you. Science without debate is not science, it's propaganda. Science is literally asking questions. Part of the scientific method is you're always trying to prove yourself wrong. You're coming up with a null hypothesis and designing experiments to show, like, if the conclusions we've reached were wrong, what would that evidence look like? And right now, there are so many signals that these vaccines are not as effective or as safe as we initially hoped they would be. And instead of reformulating our plan, globally governments are just going full steam ahead, and that's really concerning. and I don't want to be concerned about it, and I'm not having fun being concerned about it. But that's the position we're in. So if everything I'm saying, again, sounds crazy to you, and I can understand if it does, because the censorship of this stuff is so pervasive everywhere that it makes sense that many people haven't heard of these things. But if all this shit sounds insane to you, I really please invite you to read this Substack. When these vaccines like first were coming out, we all wanted them to work. I wanted them to work. I was gonna get vaccinated, and then I personally have a heart condition. And so when all these different, like the pharmacies, the drug companies themselves, the health officials, when they were saying things like if you're immunocompromised, if you have a heart condition, etc., this vaccine potentially might not be safe for you, I was like, I'm gonna wait then. And then while I was holding off from getting the shots, I watched the messaging go from, if you're immunocompromised, don't get this, and then also seeing the real world efficacy of them not being what was promised. They don't reduce transmission in any significant way. These breakthrough cases are not rare. Again, they're unfortunately the norm in a lot of places, especially places that rolled out their vaccine campaigns sooner than North America did. But watch the messaging go from that to everyone needs to get the shot. Everybody. And if you look at the College of Physicians and Surgeons for Alberta, I'm just using that specifically because that's where I live, it says right in their guidelines it's virtually impossible to get an exemption. It's probably not a direct quote, but I do believe the words virtually impossible are on there. So again, I think a lot of people are gung-ho about the mandates, with the idea being that, well, everyone needs to get the vaccine to protect those who can't get the vaccine. And I just want people to understand, like, a group of people who can't get the vaccine, that doesn't exist anymore, according to the policymakers. Now it's everybody needs to get the vaccine. Also, this is a whole nother topic I don't really have the energy to go into right now, but these injections are not vaccines by the traditional sense in any sort of the word. The CDC changed the definition of vaccines in line with the rollout of these, and like, yes, things change, but when we want to vaccinate an entire global population, we're just happening to change how we define vaccines. Seems a little suspicious. What vaccine have you ever gotten in your life where you need a booster every 3 months? Informed consent about these injections is not being given, and I think that's criminal. You as a human being need to have knowledge of what you're taking into your body instead of being incentivized or coerced to just take it or else. I love the messaging on that too, right? Originally it was, Albertans are excited for the vaccine. Get your shot at $1 million. Now it's, we think you're a piece of shit and you can't have a job and you can't go to school unless you get the shot. So many people that I know have been forcibly withdrawn from school even though they're only enrolled in online classes. Does that make sense? Does that sound like it makes sense? Does that sound like it's about health? So please read Jimmy Kim's Substack. I was deceived about COVID vaccine safety. Link below. Also, I'm gonna put this on YouTube, but I'm gonna put it on Odyssey too, because I think that there is a pretty decent chance that YouTube will remove it. Okay, I know I'm really kind of beating this like a dead horse, but I'm gonna ask one more time. If what I'm saying offends you, if it bothers you, if it makes you mad, please ask yourself, what do I have to gain from talking about this? I don't think it's fun. I didn't think it'd be a fun bit to ostracize myself and subject myself to getting called a piece of shit all the time. I'm speaking up because I'm worried, and I care about people, and I care about informed consent and about people's choice. And there's so much more to this whole thing that, again, really, I don't have the energy to say this, and I don't want this to be too long. But in terms of, again, like, COVID deaths, early treatment is such a huge thing. And again, like, when has it ever been normal that if you are sick with a disease, the official protocol is go home, stay home, and don't seek treatment until you're blue in the face? Because that's what the treatment is for COVID right now. One thing I would really recommend if you are genuinely wanting to look into this stuff to see what kind of things are you not being told by the health, like global health narrative right now, The biggest recommendation I would give you is stop using Google. Google is a company, no shit, but Google is a company that makes money from ad revenues. There's a lot more to it than that, but essentially they're gonna show you things they know you'll click on. And then again, there's more to it than that because Google. Stop using Google, use DuckDuckGo or SwissCows or even Bing. There's a bunch of them out there, but Google, like, do a side-by-side. Type in vaccine safety on Google and then type that in on SwissCows and look at the different things you're gonna get. Because Google has lots of ties to the pharmaceutical industry. There is so much more I have to say, but I'm gonna wrap this up for this little video. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, please feel free to subscribe. As I said, there are lots of other people making videos like this that are way more educated and better spoken than I am. But I cannot stay quiet about this, so I'll be posting content. Let me know your thoughts, let me know how you're doing. This is literally a horrible time pretty much for everybody, regardless of what position you have on the matter. So whatever you believe and feel, I hope you're doing well, and thank you very much if you take the time to watch this. Talk to you later. She is making so much sound in the background, aren't you, Violet? Yeah. What do you think about mandates,